Okay, welcome to the walk around of my 2012 Cadillac CTS V vehicle that's been recently equipped with a Aquamist HFS 4 water injection system, also known as methanol injection. It was created, built, and provided to me by Jeff Howerton of Howerton Engineering. Inside the engine compartments, which is where we'll start, I'll show you the end point of all the madness. This is the distribution block with the two lines that I've utilized to come off into the motor. One of the unique characteristics and new features about the HFS 4 as opposed to other systems is the FAV, fast acting valve, which controls and monitors pressure into the system based upon plume signals. It maintains constant line pressure from the 160 psi pump. Anyway, I have two intake lines you'll see into the charged intake tube, which would be pre-compressor. I have two 1.2 millimeter nozzles here and then underneath here. And the reason for my 1.2s is with the Aquamist system you do calculations based upon injector size to determine the most favorable amount of spray into the system. Again, I've utilized a pre-charger intake system which relies upon injection of, in my case, 100% methanol in through the intake through into the supercharger, subsequently pre-cooling the charged air into the supercharger, theoretically making the supercharger run more efficiently and dropping, most importantly, the intake air temperatures, specifically for intake air temperature 2, which is the air monitoring system within the supercharger post supercharger. So where it actually all starts, Jeff Howerton created and built a tank which is trunk mounted, similar to my BMW. It's a 2.5 gallon polyurethane tank that stores the 100% methanol, and it's also filled with little plastic balls, which is somewhat amusing, except they are used as a wonderful baffling system. The methanol goes into the 160 psi Aquamist pump. I also have a safety relief valve, if you will. It vents to the outside. It was designed to be in trunk and covered with the factory cover so as to maintain utilization of the trunk. This object right over here is the mobility pump that comes basically from Cadillac in lieu of a spare tire. I have the lines running from the pump underneath the car. Cadillac has, as you see, that black plastic plug. They had another one over here. I ran the vent line, which is there at the top, running out, and then the other one, the line, actual liquid line, that runs underneath the car, routed all the way towards the front. The electrical system is quite easy. There's an inline 30 amp fuse. The battery compartment here on the CTS V. I have the ground wire attached to the factory ground wire, positive end power source into the battery, and the trunk data line, which is part of this cluster here, the black line that you see here, is actually routed up through the right side of the car to the glove box. The glove box is where the main computer module, if you will, of the brains of the HFS 4 is located, and there are several wires that run to it, all of which have a purpose. One is going to be the gauge wire, the actual power wire for the system, including the lighting for the gauge. The red and yellow wire are the part of the flow sensor and system that we pointed out up near the distribution block. The actual ECU lines, and in my case they run to the injector and to the map of my vehicle as an option, and then this is the trunk line that ran from the trunk that tells monitors pressure, inline pressure, and tank levels from the back. One of the other items that I have in the vehicle is the Aquamist gauge, which is part of the package. And in my case, I mounted it to the dash. And by mounting it into the dash, I had to remove the existing digital clock that was there. So the way the system works is I turn on the car and you'll see that I get the lights come on. It goes through a self-test, and you know that you have power to the system when the red S is illuminated. Okay, the system can also be turned off and on from this button. Methanol system is now disengaged. Simple press of a button, it's on. And as you'll see, as you're driving along, based upon your settings, this little B here will turn when the system is ready to activate. It'll turn on. And if you continue through the cycle, you'll see red bars. Maybe not while at idle. But anyway, depending upon your injector settings and or boost control levels, the methanol injection will be monitored by bars that run from left to right, depending upon the amount of flow. That's the Aquamist HFS4 water injection system in a Cadillac CTS V. Compliments to Jeff Howerton at Howerton Engineering.